Welcome back to the season review. It's now time to preview our next segment. And of course, next up is the 3-year-old classic. A certain absentee was away from the 3-year-old classic, that being Bold Thruster. He bypassed the remaining 2 legs to focus purely on sprint journeys. Top Knight caught the eye in the lead-up and was fancied to assert himself as the leading 3-year-old. But his challenges would only come from those that we knew so well. The ex-Argentine Elite Incredible, who was only having his second start in Singapore, would try to spoil the party.
Power began awkwardly. He's out the back. Top Knight jumped evenly. Vlad looking for a spot on the favourite early. Super Ray began brilliantly. Mackham Lad, Pennywise both up there. Limbs Lightning settling just behind the speed. No Fun, No Gains much closer tonight at the 1400 metres. He's riding the rails to be 5th on settling down. Then Elite Incredible, a half length away the inside, his stablemate Gold Star. Then Mo Almighty, the speed's muddling. Siam Vipasiri got inconvenience. Then Siam Blue Vander. Top Knight is second last, the favourite, and 3 lengths away Parent Power. He can see them all. They went through that first 400 in 24.48. And Mackham Lad, he makes the turn at the 700 metres, showing the way by a half length on Super Ray. Just behind them, Limbs Lightning. Pennywise has been off the track, followed by No Fun, No Gain. Mo Almighty pushing out, so too Elite Incredible. Top Knight's the widest horse. He's made right to the middle of the track, and Vlad Jurek about to cut him loose. Past the 400, Limbs Lightning, Pennywise. They're going up to Mackham Lad. Elite Incredible lets down, so does Top Knight running home, but he's still got a bit of work to do. 200 metres to go. They're across the track. It's Mackham Lad giving a side. Now Top Knight and Elite Incredible are coming. Elite Incredible, Top Knight. Mackham Lad's run a huge race. They go to the line. Oh, very close.
Many suspected it, and Top Knight was happy to confirm it. He recorded his first feature race win and asserted himself as a star on the rise in the Lion City. Champion rider Vlad Jurek registered his first feature of the year on his way to a successful title defence, and Michael Clements' run continued for major supporters Falcon Racing, who went on to be the leading owners for the 2019 season. Top Knight would next have a tilt at Group 1 glory in the Singapore Guineas. The Rocketman Sprint promised to deliver the clash the whole of Singapore was waiting for. Superstar sprinter Limbs Cruiser up against the rapidly rising Bold Thruster. And not only that, the race was at handicap conditions. So the reigning sprinter of the year was to give 7 kilos away to the new kid on the block. Former champion War Affair also made his return to the races after a stint in New Zealand.
Racing in the Rocketman Sprint. And Limbs Cruiser about 6th or 7th into stride. Bold Thruster away brilliantly. And he pounces on the lead from Super Winner, going up to apply some pressure to Bold Thruster. Zach Carter handy. Mr. Yo on the rails. And Limbs Cruiser's probing up between horses, putting himself into the race. Inside of Augustano, 3 lengths away then to Webster. Super Fortune's got back in the field, so too Now You See BB, and War Affair is last. Coming up towards the home turn, and Bold Thruster travelling strongly in front. He leads from Super Winner Zach Carter. Mr. Yo, now Limbs Cruiser's off and around them on the outside. He's right there in striking distance around the home turn. Further back was Augustano, Webster. Super Winner dropped off. Zach Carter likewise. Down below the 300 metres, Mr. Yo going to Bold Thruster. Limbs Cruiser made the early run on the outside. He's trying to level up with them at the 300. It's Mr. Yo, Limbs Cruiser, Bold Thruster. A titanic struggle in the Rocket Man. Bold Thruster, the inside is kicking. Limbs Cruiser, Mr. Yo. They try to get him. Bold Thruster's going to do it though. Bold Thruster's...
The decision to bypass the remaining 2 legs of the 3-year-old series proved to be the right one for trainer Shane Barchiger. Bold Thruster recorded back-to-back feature races, and Bar and Vorster proved his class with the live weight. It was an emotional victory for the South African-born pilot, as the race was named in the great Rocketman's honour, a horse that Vorster played an integral role with in his career, certainly his rise to worldwide fame. The Moonbeam Vase appeared to be a serious puzzle on paper under uncommon weight conditions and proved to be yet another open feature event. Last year's winner Nova Strike was back for another tilt at the prize. Blizzard, who had already taken out the committee's prize, and who could forget the 2-pronged attack from the Elite stable with Elite Excalibur and Elite Invincible.
Second last, and Wolf Warrior can see them all. They come into the straight now. 500 metres to go, and Eye Guys run along in front. He leads by 2. Tried to drop Black Jade. Oh, King Louis got inconvenienced by Forever Young back in the field. Darting back to the inside, Makanani, Elite Invincible. Elite Excalibur threading through from well back as well. And then Blizzard at the 200. Eye Guy the leader. Here's Elite Excalibur storming up the inside, going after him. 100 to go. It's Eye Guy in front. Elite Excalibur going going to him. Elite Excalibur grabbing the lead. He's too strong.
Elite Excalibur came with a withering burst up the inside to record his second career feature race in Singapore after taking out last year's committee's prize. Despite mixing his form throughout his career, Elite Excalibur proved yet again that he is still one of Singapore's most talented gallopers under the right conditions. The victory gave jockey Ben Thompson his second feature race victory for Cliff Brown. The Lion City Cup was the grand final for Singapore's top sprinters. Could Lim's Cruiser turn the tables on Bold Thruster to claim his third straight Lion City Cup and etch his name into the history books? Or would old rival Aramco have something to say about that?
First of the Group 1s, the Lion City Cup, they're racing. And Lim's Cruiser away moderately. Bold Thruster's missed the start. Bold Thruster back midfield early. A sensation early. Zach Carser came out brilliantly and leads Gingerella Mistio. Bold Thruster recovering to fourth. Will he settle though? He's in the one out, one back position. Then Constant Justice, Lim's Cruiser in a good spot in the centre as Bold Thruster checked off heels. Clarton Super couldn't get any three wide, the speed only moderate. Then Nimble and Aramco pulling fiercely second last, and Super Fortune on the outside is last. Zach Carter came up to the 650, leading by 2 on Gingerella, already niggled at before the turn. Then Misty O. Behind those Bold Thruster, Lim's Cruiser picking his way through the field. Then Clarton Super, Constant Justice as they swing in now. 400 metres to go. Zach given his head. Zach Carter leading from Gingerella Mistio. Then Bold Thruster, Lim's Cruiser trying to wind up. Aramco's down the outside and running on. The back markers in play now at the 200. Lim's Cruiser and Aramco have raced to the lead together. Lim's Cruiser, Purton gets stuck into him. Aramco's going to make him earn it. It's Lim's Cruiser, Aramco. Aramco has upended Lim's Cruiser.
Aramco edged out a gallant Lim's Cruiser in the concluding stages to record his first Group 1 victory. The win also provided Train Barchigo with his first Group 1 in a year that he certainly won't forget. A man who is usually quite reserved, Shane dedicated the win to a close family member who had passed throughout the week. Barchigo's great run for 2019 wouldn't end here, and certainly didn't end for winning rider Vlad Jurek, who had a night to remember. Runner-up Lim's Cruiser would later represent Singapore in 2 Group 1s in the UK, performing admirably.
Yeah, superb display of sprinting there, chaps. Aramco and Lim's Cruiser, two of the very best we've seen, Luke, here in Singapore for a long time.
Certainly, Nick. Look, great moment for Shane. I guess the real racing purists would have liked to see Lim's Cruiser make a third straight Lion City Cup. That would have been a great story, but I think the story of Shane winning the Group 1 was even better.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously in that segment there, Dan, as well, we saw Top Night once again. That wasn't the end of him for the season either. He was superb in the Classic.
Exactly right. He certainly was, wasn't he? And just on the Lion City Cup as well, Nick, Lim's Cruiser, he's flown the flag for Singapore over the last 12 months. Of course, he went and performed admirably. So certainly plenty of highlights in that segment.
Absolutely. And just touching upon obviously the Moonbeam Vase as well, you know, you made the point, Dan, that under the right conditions, a horse like Elite Excalibur is a very smart one.
He is, isn't he? He just needs everything to go right. It needs that firm track, but he had it on that occasion under uncommon weight conditions. But look, that proved the difference in the end, and he had a good year, didn't he?
And I know a horse that you've always been very fond of, Luke, Bold Thruster. We saw another vintage display from him. He's really not the finished article yet, but boy, what he's able to do is quite phenomenal.
Absolutely. Obviously he had the lightweight to win that race, Nick, but that was long course. He was in front doing all the bullocking work up front. They were there to get him, and they just couldn't. Lim's Cruiser, I thought, on the day, with a bit more luck in running, he probably would have won the race. He was set a bit of a task with that big weight, but look, Bold Thruster, you can't take anything away from him. He's a gutsy front runner.
I think that was the moment for 2019 that we really realised how good he was to knock off Lim's Cruiser. Because before that it was, is he good enough to take and have a little bit of a tilt, of course, at the Lion City Cup. But after that victory, he certainly earned his spot in the big one. Yeah,
it was almost audacious to an extent, isn't it, really, to be able to say, well, I'm going to go and beat the champion sprinter, but he's a good one.
Well, from now forward, we know that after the Lion City Cup, where he was slow away, pulled, and things went wrong, he changed stables. He moved from Shane Birchiger's yard to Michael Clemens, so the remainder of the year, he raced under that banner.
Certainly did, and obviously kudos once again to Lim's Cruiser, who represented Singapore at Royal Ascot for the first time, a first runner at the Royal Meeting for Singapore. Talking of Michael Clemens, his horse Top Night went on to win the Guineas, and do join us after this break, because that will be the first of the feature races we will preview.